Starring Matt Damon in the Great International Box Office. Wall. Great Wall. The Great Wall does star Matt Damon. He is a European who finds himself in China and finds out what the Great Wall is really for. Hint, it involves monsters. This is a movie that wants to wow you visually and also bring you into a story. Does it do either of those things well? Well, here's 5 things you might want to know about the Great Wall. Yes, it's true, the Great Wall is not a great movie, but there is some stuff to like here. For one, I think it does wow with the visuals. The war stuff in this is actually pretty good. Whenever this movie is in action mode, I found myself having a really good time. Not just with how it looked and some of the cool stuff that always happens in kind of these big budget action movies, but also with the choreography of it all. There seemed to be a fluidity to what was going on that I don't often recognize in a lot of movies like this, and so I appreciated it, enjoyed it when it was happening. The other visual part of the movie that I really enjoyed was the beauty of this culture and kind of just the way things looked in the cinematography. Specifically, the costume design on this was great, and not just because it was pretty to look at, which it was, the design was really beautiful, but because it was functional as well. What I mean by that is it served story purpose. The coloring of the different types of warriors made it easy to tell who was doing what and how it was working. And that goes for the monsters as well, even though they weren't technically wearing clothing. The way they were designed let you know kind of which monsters were which and what they were doing. And for a movie viewer, that allows you to be in the movie in a way where you understand what's going on. And I think overall that's a very positive thing. Speaking of the monsters, that's the third part I really enjoyed. I like these monsters. I like the way they're separated. I like the way they look. Not only that, I love the different ways that they fight. It felt like a human army, but in monster form. They had strategies. They had different things they were doing. And because of that, you found yourself in a place where you felt like you were actually watching kind of a war instead of just a melee, if that makes sense. So I thought they did a really good job with these monsters, not just making them some sort of faceless, nameless, horde, but actually giving them a personality. But here's the thing. All that stuff really kind of has to do with the same area. The action scenes, the fighting, the visuals. But beyond that, this movie really isn't that good. First of all, speaking of the monsters, they do at times look fake. You can say both these are beautiful creatures designed well, and also you didn't do a good job with the CG. Those two things are not mutually exclusive. I love the way these monsters were designed, but I didn't like the way they looked at times, especially some of the broader shots where you got to see a bunch of them. I just felt like, oh, somebody designed that on a computer and not, oh, I'm looking at an immense battle scene. But here's the worst thing, and I can't believe I'm saying it, and it hurts me, and it really brings the movie down. It's Matt Damon. He's not good in this. I love Matt Damon. I love his personality. I love who he is. And I think that's what's missing here. It just felt like maybe he was miscast or directed poorly, but this did not feel like a Matt Damon performance that I want to revisit. Not only is he not compelling or have much personality to him, his sense of humor doesn't work. It's one of my favorite things about him. And it's not just that he's humorless. They try to give him jokes in the movie and they fall completely flat. I don't know how that happened because he has a great sense of humor. You've seen it in so many other movies, but it does happen. And I'm sorry to report, I think Matt Damon is the worst part of this movie. Overall, though, I think The Great Wall can be watched with enjoyment if you just want to watch the action scene and the visuals and these monsters kind of fight. That's kind of a cool part of it, but that other stuff is enough to bring it quite a bit down. I gave it a C+. Thanks for hanging out and watching this Your Movie Friend review. We'll get to the best ever challenge here in a bit. Before we do, if you want to connect further, I would love that. Hit me up on Twitter, at Aaron Dicer, Aarondicer, having some great movie conversations there. I love the back and forth. This is one way. I like it when it's two ways. So let's talk there. Appreciate that. If you want to check out the podcast, it's called SiftPop, SiftPop, and we have a great time just chatting movies and whatever other pop culture stuff we want to hit on. And if you want to do the YouTube thing, please subscribe, comment, support, whatever you want to do. It's much appreciated. I love hanging out here with this YouTube and community, especially as it's growing and more people in the comments, having a great time with that. So feel free to join in. Speaking of the comments, let's get on to the best ever challenge. This is where you name the best movie ever in a particular category. Also try to identify my choice. Let's go with the best movie ever that has the word great in the title. Best movie ever with the word great in the title. There are a few of these. In fact, we talked about it on the podcast this week. We did our top 3. My best ever was paid homage by a movie with a stop-motion chicken. Take a guess at mine in the comments. Leave your choice there as well. And as always, I'll give you 5 extra seconds to hit the subscribe logo. All you got to do is click it. It's right down in this corner.